All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to try and make sense of the incredible, complex rules that run the natural world. Think of this as cracking open the user's guide for planet Earth, and we're going to put it all together, piece by piece. And it all really starts with this one massive question. How does all of this actually work? I mean, how do you get everything from fungi to elephants, from tiny plankton to giant blue whales, all sharing this one little rock that's hurtling through space? You'd think it would be total chaos, right? Well, it's not. There's a system. And to figure out that system, we're going to need a map. And this right here, this is our map. These 5 key terms, interdependence, camouflage, adaptations, the food chain, and biodiversity, these are the big ideas that'll help us see all of the amazing connections in the web of life. So, let's start at the very beginning, with the foundation that everything else is built on. And that foundation is called biodiversity. Really, all it means is the incredible variety of life you find in any one place. We could be talking about the millions of microscopic critters in a single drop of pond water, or the vast, sprawling ecosystem of the entire Amazon rainforest. A really great way to picture it is to think of nature as this epic movie with a huge cast. Every single character, no matter how small their part seems, is crucial to the story. That's biodiversity. But here's the thing. These characters aren't just standing around on the same set. Their storylines are all tangled up with each other. So let's take a closer look at how that connection actually works. And that brings us to interdependence. It's a big word, but the idea is simple. No species is an island. A bee needs a flower to get nectar, right? And that flower absolutely needs the bee to come around and spread its pollen. It's this delicate little dance, and they both need it to survive. The author Rachel Carson put it perfectly in her book Silent Spring. She wrote, "In nature, nothing exists alone." It's such a powerful idea because it means every living thing is like a single thread in a massive web. If you pull on just one of those threads, the whole thing trembles. It's pretty much the golden rule for any ecosystem. So if everything and everyone is connected and depends on each other, how does the most basic thing of all, energy, move through this whole system? Well, a lot of the time, it comes down to lunch. Which, leads to a pretty important question, doesn't it? In a world where everything is connected, how do you manage to get your lunch without becoming someone else's lunch? And the answer is the food chain. It's basically a map that shows how energy flows. It tells us who eats who, of course, but what it's really showing us is how the original energy from the sun gets passed all the way up to the top predators. Let's just break down a simple one. Okay, step 1, plants soak up that sunshine, turning it into energy. Step 2, an animal, let's say a rabbit, comes along and eats those plants. And step 3, another animal, maybe a hawk, swoops down and eats the rabbit. Each time something gets eaten, energy gets transferred up the chain. Okay, but just knowing about the food chain isn't going to help you survive it. To make it in this game, every single organism needs its own special set of tools, its own playbook for life. And those tools are called adaptations. These are all the special features that give a species an edge. Like a cactus being able to store water in a dry desert, or an eagle having razor-sharp eyesight. These things aren't accidents. They're the result of millions of years of evolution, all designed for one single purpose, survival. So you can think of adaptation as the entire toolbox. Camouflage is just one really, really cool tool inside that box. I mean, when a chameleon changes its color, that is not a party trick. It's a life or death adaptation that lets it hide from predators and sneak up on its own prey. So we've gone through our 5 key terms. We've looked at all the different parts of our little user's guide. Now let's pull it all together, see the bigger picture, and really understand why any of this matters. So let's put it all back into that movie analogy. Biodiversity gives us our cast of characters. Interdependence is the script. It shows us how they're all connected. The food chain, well, that's the plot, the action. And adaptations, like camouflage, those are the unique survival skills each character uses to make it through the story. It's all one giant, interconnected narrative. And that brings us to the main takeaway. Every single one of those characters, every species, is absolutely vital. A tiny worm turning over the soil is just as important as a lion hunting on the savannah. They all have a critical role to play in keeping our whole planet healthy and in balance. Which leaves us with one final and really important question. In a system that is so complex and so interconnected, What happens when you just take one of those pieces away? What happens when a single thread in this great web of life just breaks?